What do you think? Is it a good thing to be proud of your dad, or is it weird? In my opinion, there's nothing better than hearing people say kind things about their fathers. But that's not what Leland Harrington thought. The doorbell rang again, making me jump. I opened the door and found myself face to face with Leland Harrington. His expression was like he was staring at an annoying fly. Yes, he said finally, his voice dripping with disdain. Can I help you? I just smiled back at him. I knew exactly what he was thinking. He wished I wasn't the one marrying his daughter, but unfortunately for him, I was. And I knew I would make her happier than any rich guy from his country club could ever dream of. I came to see how my daughter's doing, I replied, walking past him and into the house without waiting for a response. I walked into the kitchen to find my daughter rolling out pizza dough with her girlfriends. She was beautiful, even if I do say so myself. Just seeing her surrounded by so much love made me feel like bursting with happiness. As I leaned against the doorframe watching her, I heard Leyland call out, "Hey, you there?" And I turned to see him standing there looking at me with a strange expression on his face. It was almost like he was about to cry. Okay, here we go again, I thought. What now? Yes? I asked. He hesitated, then pointed outside. You need to fix that, he said, nodding toward my pickup truck. I looked out the window and saw what he was talking about. Someone had keyed ugly old truck on the side of my vehicle. It's just a small scratch, I said with a shrug. No big deal, but it's unsightly, he said, pushing his lips together. And besides, she deserves a better send-off than this. My daughter overheard him and came to stand beside me. Don't be an asshole, she snapped at him, which made me smile. Even after all these years, she still had that fire in her. She can handle herself, I said, putting my arm around her shoulder. Don't worry, Dad, she said with a smile. I know exactly how to handle him. An hour later, the restaurant was beautifully decorated with fairy lights and fresh flowers. The walls were adorned with pictures of my daughter as a child, each one reminding me of the amazing person she grew up to be. As I entered, I saw Leland sitting at a table with his friends. He waved me over, and when I got closer, I heard him say, and then he shows up driving a beat-up pickup, parked it in the only handicapped spot, and just stares at you awkwardly. What does he want? Doesn't he have a TV at home? Why doesn't he watch it there? All right, I thought, here comes the good part. As he finished his story and everyone burst into laughter, I stood up and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, well, maybe I do, but the cable's not hooked up yet. So I come here to watch my baby girl get married? Everyone went silent as they looked at me. I nodded at them and they all started to clap. Even Leland couldn't stop himself from smiling. Good evening, everyone, I said, raising my glass. To my beautiful daughter and a wonderful family. May God bless you all. And with that, I walked away, leaving them staring after me with surprised expressions on their faces. All the waiters peeked out from behind the counter, curious about the commotion. The guests started to arrive and fill the tables, and soon the room was filled with happy chatter and laughter. The bride and groom weren't here yet, but I knew they would make a grand entrance soon enough. About 20 minutes later, a hush fell over the crowd as my daughter and her husband entered the room. She looked absolutely stunning, and he looked like a real-life prince. As they approached the table, Leland cleared his throat and stood up. "Father, may I have a word with you?" he said, his voice tight. I followed him outside, wondering what he wanted. "What is it?" I asked. "Why did you humiliate me in front of my friends and family?" "I didn't mean to humiliate you," I replied. "I was just trying to say hello. You could have done that without embarrassing me," he said, his eyes flashing. "Oh, come on, son," I said, placing a hand on his shoulder. Everyone was being nice. "You were the only one acting like a jerk. And besides, it's not like I don't have enough money. I can afford a new truck." "You don't have to worry about that. You think money can solve everything," he spat. You're wrong. Some things money can't buy, like respect. No one respects you. He turned and stormed off, leaving me standing there shaking my head. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if all this wealth has gone to his head. If only he knew who his future father-in-law really was. Maybe then he wouldn't be such a jerk. As the reception began, my gaze swept across the room, lingering on the empty space beside my daughter. Where was Leland? I thought, hoping he hadn't gone and sulked off somewhere. Suddenly, the music stopped and a hush fell over the crowd. All eyes turned towards the door as a tall, imposing figure entered the room. It was him, dressed in a tailored suit, exuding an air of power and wealth that made heads turn. A broad smile spread across my face. Time to teach Leland a lesson he wouldn't forget.